don't know if any of you know this, but there are levels of anger, right? So, for instance, first you're angry, and you just start cursing. You can't control it, right? Then you're even more angry, and you can't even speak, and that's when it gets dangerous, right? And then there's the angry where you just want to choke somebody, and I can't say the rest because we're on another platform, but you know what I'm saying. Tonight is the first of those angers for me. I just want to curse, but again, this is not my platform, so I might as well start the show. I'm going to bring in a man whose name says it all, and I think it holds true for a lot of people watching. It holds true for me, and it's Mr. Regrets. Sir, we have to know, but I'm teasing this because we have to bring on the executive. Why the regret? Why the regret?
Well, there's a lot that I didn't know, and a lot that I did without knowing what I know now.
And if you knew then what you know now,
I would have had more fun. Yeah.
I'm very curious. Ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea where he's going. Yeah. He's a riddle master, and that might annoy this person because the Riddler is his favorite character. He's changed his name, and for the first time tonight, he's going by Chris. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, except for a couple things. One, I forgot that I did. For some reason, it says Chris, and I don't remember. Oh, I remember why. I did a New Jack tribute. All right, so regrets, huh? Just gonna stick with that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Whatever. We only have 5 more movies to go, right? Including this one, 5 movies.
Only.
So let's go ahead.
I feel like we're out of order.
I think the studio was out of order, but we'll get to that later when I talk about when I go in. And I'll need a timer because I have a lot to say, but I'll go last. I'll go last if y'all don't mind.
You go last.
Okay. Let me jump into the synopsis early. Fans of General Grievous say hello. Let me, and it's good to be live. It's good to be live. I say that as a joke for last week. But let me read the synopsis. In case you haven't seen it, tonight we're doing episode 7, The Force Awakens. In case you don't know, and in case you haven't seen it, let me just run through the synopsis, and we generally do this on all the films that we review, just so you have a general idea. And this is the synopsis for The Force Awakens, the 7th movie in the Star Wars franchise. You remember what happens in the original trilogy, that's 4, 5, and 6, with Leia, Luke, and Han? Yeah, well, they do that again and change the character names. And that is the synopsis for episode 7, The Force Awakens. The movie that was made by, and let's give him credit, J.J. Abrams, and I believe produced and pushed by one Kathleen Kennedy, who always touts that she was on the set of the originals and worked hand in hand with George Lucas. Kathleen Kennedy, who disregarded the story idea of where to take the franchise when he signed off the rights and sold it to Disney. Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams, who believes himself to be Steven Spielberg. And that's why he takes his movie ideas and revamps them and calls it something else. You might remember him from what Chris calls lovingly Star Journey, or Space Journey, as he just mouthed right there. I can read lips. All right? Because he made a movie with Star Trek character names, but had nothing to do with the whole setup and lore. You might also recognize a trope that he has with destroying important planets for no reason. But more on that later. Since Regrets is seeing this for the first time, and Chris and I have had to cry before, I would like to hear fresh tears. Sir, what did you think about this movie? Did you have a best of or worst of?
I have a question. Did Disney make this movie?
This is Force Awakens, Rogue One, Solo, and then The Last Jedi, and then The Rise of Skywalker are all Disney. Everything previous was all Lucas.
Okay, so Disney had nothing to do with the story of Darth Vader. Okay, okay. That makes a lot of sense. All right, that makes a ton of sense. Now, why do I have regrets? I'll show you why I have regrets. Because I wish I would have known where I was. Right now, I had no idea. I was just like, okay, we're at Disneyland. Let's go do it. Right. And I said to this guy, yo, you know what? You look like a knockoff Darth Vader. Like, why are you? And then he just turned around and gave me that stare. And I did not realize why he gave me that stare. And then, I was drunk off the blue milk and I was talking all kinds of crap and I was just having fun. You know what I mean? But I didn't know what I was saying. Now, mind you, if I would have known that Kylo Ren was just trying to be like his granddaddy when he was bad, he actually went through no pain and no nothing. He was just trying to be a dark side guy because he liked how his granddaddy did it. I would have been talking all kinds of crap. Man, I would have ended up over here somewhere locked up. It would have been awesome.
Can we see that picture again, please? What were you wearing? What were you wearing there? Is that
that's irrelevant now?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I just
does it say "Hey Mickey"?
Her Mickey.
Mickey. Oh, yeah. Wow. Bringing Pornhub to Disney World. Okay.
Yeah. It was one of those. You got to do things that she likes. Anyway. But yeah,
that's what J.J. Abrams said to Kathleen Kennedy.
Anyway, but outside of that, I can definitely see that this was, and it reminded me a lot of Mortal Kombat. It was like a revamp for the new generation. You could tell with the jokes, you could tell with everything else, you could tell with the whole situation how. With Han Solo and Princess Leia, and how it was like a nice comeback to them. Now, there were parts that I liked. Now, because here's the thing. The reason why I asked this question is because this whole thing is going to be a matter of perspective. I'm certain that there's people that like this movie, and I guarantee that there's people that hate this movie based on the fact that they pretty much just redid the storyline. But more than anything, it's shiny things and blasters and and very little story. That is the problem here. Now, depending on your level of perspective, it's either going to be good or going to be bad. Now, at the end of the day, like at this point, it's not like the last three movies that were more about telling the story of Anakin Skywalker. This is more of a money grab. I can clearly see that here, especially since that's why I asked if it was done by Disney, because Disney's all about the money grab at this point. So, yeah. I mean, it wasn't, and like I said, it's about a perspective because it all depends. Now, for example, I loved BB-8, but then half the time I was just wondering, like, why wouldn't they bring in R2-D2? Like, he's a droid. Why wouldn't they just have him in there? Like, most of the time I was until the end where they like, put the two pieces together and all of that. And I marked out when I saw like, C-3PO, R2-D2, and BB-8, like, coming in like the Lucha House Party. I was loving that. You know what I mean? Like, it was great just to have them like all three together because I was missing R2-D2 the whole time. So I thought that was great. That's one of my favorite parts, but that's just me being a nerd. You know what I mean? So, but for the most part, yeah. Compared to the other movies, or at least the first three, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And clearly it's like, girl power, even though like I'm learning the Force in the middle of a fight and like, yeah. Yeah. Okay. When it took these other two guys like decades of studying and all stuff, you know what I mean? Okay. All of a sudden I'm learning the Force because I got tits. Okay. No doubt. That's how it is. No doubt.
And remember that the quote unquote bad guy did not say that. The good guy said that, or he's over there, right? Wherever he is, right? He's over there. He said that. And remember when we were talking about the Marvel pictures, I said you have to have rules that you follow. And if you establish something, you have to hold to it or explain in detail or through a sequence, if it's a visual medium, how you're changing and why you're changing that rule. And it has to hold to the internal logic of whatever universe you're in. And he just said it. This newcomer in Star Wars just said that we've just watched all these movies where these people had to train for years to do very rudimentary Force skills. And Homegirl has been abandoned on a desert planet and is able to go toe-to-toe with the antagonist, as he just said, who likens himself to Darth Vader. who in the previous 6 films is the big bad.
Wait, now I have a question. Was there ever, or maybe I missed this, was there ever a point where the lightsaber chose
No,
the individual?
no.
Like, what was that about?
It's not. It's about Kathleen Kennedy and tokenism. And I'm not. Listen, people are not gonna like what I have to say, but the movie just showed it. It's not about what I want to see personally or what I like to see. The movie tells you itself. We've never seen that in any Star Wars movie, right? And the Star Wars movies are the canon. The books are not the canon. I can't speak if it happens in the books. The books aren't canon though. Especially not with the episode 7, because they rewrote or they got rid of a lot of what happened in the books after Return of the Jedi, right? So the movies are canon. We've never seen that. You're telling me that she's so special, and we don't know who she is, but she's so special that the saber that belonged to Luke Skywalker, who arguably is the most special, it didn't call to him.
Word.
He just picked it up and he was twirling around when Obi-Wan was showing him. But you never heard voices call out from the past. You never saw that in the prequels at the height of the Jedi. So why is it calling out to Rey? Because she's a woman and they're trying to do tokenism. And this is why, and I'll tease what I'm going to say privately, and I'm sorry for cutting you into your time, Vic, but when we go to Rogue One, I'm going to show you how they wrote a character well, and it just so happened to be a woman. And she happens to be the lead character in that movie. And they show how that character has skills and why she's able to do what she does. But in this one, I'm going to break down why it's BS.
See, it's weird because they kind of make her feel like a baby Han Solo and then a baby Luke Skywalker, which like don't make much sense.
Oh,
like,
wait till you get to episode 9. Wait till you get to episode 9.
I would have preferred her as a little Han Solo flying the planes and whatever, and then have like the other dude.
Here's my question to you, Vic. Who taught her how to fly?
Yeah,
how does she know how to fly?
Yeah, that's true. There's none of that. Her and Han Solo are like saying things at the same time.
She knows all about the Falcon. How does she know that?
Facts.
That now, it makes no sense. And I don't care what anybody says. Just because if I picked up trash around an airport hangar, that doesn't mean I can get into a jet and fly it. It's the same thing we said on Wonder Woman 2. That man was like 70, had been dead for 70 something years, and planes were made out of wood when he was alive. And he gets into a jet from the 80s and he flies it like he's been doing it every single day.
Facts.
So again, it's not a sexism thing, as this new generation likes to throw these labels around just because they hear something that they disagree with and they don't like. It's a lack of writing skill. Now, far be it for me to talk about writing, because as I said, I've never said on the show that I'm a writer, but it seems and appears that it's just a lack of writing skills, because there's no explanation as to how this is possible. But Chris, this is your turn. Please go, because I have a lot to say, and I know that we don't have all the time in the world.
Well, first of all, Vic, are you finished?
Oh yeah, I've been finished.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw or heard, or both, is a sneak peek of what James has to say. That was a little that was a sneak peek, like 4 minutes of it. But here, after James give you that appetizer, I feel like I should, give a little bit of dessert, because I don't think anybody else is going to give it. So I'm going to give a little bit of dessert to this movie. I'm going to give some credit where credit possibly is due for this movie. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's give them praise for casting a female lead, even though it got a lot of hate. Let's give them praise for casting an African-American lead, even though it got a lot of hate. There's your dessert. All right.
I mean,
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
When it comes to his lead, I liked it. I just wish he wasn't so soft. That's all.
I said that I also write. The episode that you're referring to, I said that I also write. Big deal. That was my quote. Somebody else said that they were a writer. I said, big deal. I write too. That's the quote.
So, Like I was saying, here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right, I gave them credit for that. They brought in Leader Snoke. Okay, and I'm like, hey, look at the Emperor. He survived, and it's not the Emperor, but he's almost in the same role. Kylo Ren comes in like a badass, stopping plasma bolts or whatever they call it, right? Like a badass, killing people, just like that, interrogating him. I got over the outfit. He was doing a great job. I was appreciating Kylo Ren. That was pretty cool. You had to bring back Han. You had to bring back Leia. And understand that they were alive. Let's bring them back. I'll respect you for that too. Chewbacca. I'll respect you for that too. A stormtrooper turning good, turning babyface. I respect you for that too. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the movie. Then Rey, in all her Jedi gloriness, said, I don't talk to people in masks. Kylo Ren took off his mask. That was the end of the movie for me. He stopped being a badass and started being some sniveling little kid who just needs a hug. He's jealous of his father and his mother and his uncle and his grandfather and all these people he's tied to, because apparently he's tied to half the universe. But for some reason, even though he's beyond with all those good people, he says, hey, I want to be like the grandfather I never met. I want to be just as evil and as powerful as him, even though in the end, he ended up saving my uncle, right? Because there's good in him. But I feel it's good in me. I don't want to be that way. I want to be like you, even though there was good in you. I'm confused. What's going on?
He's sitting there talking about show me grandfather. What are you talking about?
I'm confused. Yeah. What's going on? Rey, all of a sudden, just because she found out from the new version of Yoda, found out that the lightsaber is calling to her, right? She's all of a sudden like, hey, I must be a Jedi too. You will open these restraints and leave out and leave the door open. Hey, it's going to work. The first time was cute. They're like, oh, what do you say? I'll tighten those restraints. Oh, now it's going to work. Now, because we know she's a Jedi, her powers are getting stronger by the second. Literally by the second. She doesn't need training. She doesn't need Yoda. She doesn't need whoever. Mace Windu. She don't need nobody. All she needs is the fact that little Yoda, who's not a Jedi, told her she's a Jedi. Leia never demonstrated any Jedi capabilities pretty much until, spoiler alert, the next movie. It's a little weird. That's one. That's not one. That's more than one. But yeah, here's my last part. Here's my last part that I had a problem with before I go. I turn it over to James and you have the filet mignon. Here's my problem. And this was touched on a little bit earlier, but it bothered me. Oh, two more things I want to pop up in. One, Finn, thank you, C. Finn wielded a lightsaber, killed a few people, God knows how. What's going on, Charmaine? And then was able to not defeat, but stay in longer than 2 seconds with Kylo Ren, right? Who's supposed to be the big baddie, right? Almost as powerful or more powerful or just as powerful as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, all these people, but has a hard time defeating Finn. It takes him about 2 minutes when it should have taken him 2 seconds. All right, I'll go back to wrestling. Roman Reigns is in the ring. You don't see Humberto Carrillo in that ring giving Roman Reigns competition. I'll go to Avengers. Thanos was ill on the ship. The Hulk is actually a little bit better. He's trained. Got his butt whipped. Now, he's trained to fight. He's also trained to lose if you watch all the daggone rest of the Avengers movies. But he does know how to fight. That was a problem for me. Then Rey is fighting. Oh, my God. Years ago, I had a big problem with the fact that I'll mention this real quick. Years ago, I had a big problem with the fact that they had set up the scene. As soon as they set up the scene, I automatically knew what was coming because it was so freaking obvious. A bridge, Kylo Ren, Han Solo, people here and here and here. Everybody's watching, dramatic music playing. Wow, what's about to happen here?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to have the Force to know what's going to happen, Rey. Right? You can tell Kylo's about to kill this mofo. And Harrison Ford says, "Yeah, this is probably about to die, but I got my paycheck. You are my son." You know, this is called phoning it in, ladies and gentlemen, because this is what he did until he died and fell off. But what I want to talk about is the fact that after that happened, Chewbacca got upset that his bestiality partner decided to shoot him, and he took it. I was like, why is he fighting these people after he just beating himself? I know he got shot, but this seems so freaking ridiculous. And somebody made it make sense to me by saying, because they're trying to show you how strong and powerful he is because he took that boat. And you know how strong that boat is because they demonstrated how strong it is throughout the movie with some stormtroopers who had armor on, and Kylo Ren at the time did not have armor on. So it made me respect him more. And then he got his butt whooped by Rey. Like, oh, ridiculous. Wait till my final thoughts. James, back on you.
Yes. And speaking of that fight with Rey, there's a moment when they're not using the Force, and it's a grown man and a grown woman, and the man towers over her by at least 2 feet, and he can't overpower her. Now, I know it's a galaxy far, far away, but
she had the strength of the Force.
No, they weren't using the Force. They weren't using the Force. There's no world in this galaxy or in theirs that a woman who has a 2 foot differential and body weight mass differential, okay, is going to overpower a man.
She's the chosen one.
False. I wasn't chosen. Okay. Now, Chris mentioned a lot that moment on Cloud City, as I call it, when they're on the bridge. I said, "Oh, so this is why Harrison Ford, aside from the check, signed this contract so he can die." The whole movie is like, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how much am I getting paid? Oh yeah, the Force, the Jedi, the dark side. That's all he did, and then he ran slowly down the corridors. Why were he and Chewie there? Why were they there? Oh, I know. As Vic said, money grab. I mentioned 2 characters, but there are a lot more. Chris mentioned another one. I call them fake Yoda. In the movie, they're called Maz Kanata. Why are they there? Because we need Yoda. Remember, I said this is episode 4, 5, and 6 in one movie. So maybe you got your money's worth if you didn't see it in 3D. If you went back and saw it again, I call you a simp. But anyway, there's General Leia. You know what I call her in this movie? A geriatric woman. Where was Leia? There was none of that fire in her in this movie. She was a geriatric woman. Kylo Ren.
It is.
I have a name for him, but I can't say it because I would be canceled. But do we have that soft? Is that soft ready? Can we cue the soft? Because that's what he is always. Whenever I see him, and put up the picture of the little dog too, because he's a little lap dog too. Okay, Kylo Ren. He's the soft Vader that Chris talked about in Return of the Jedi. You remember that? But you need to multiply that by a factor of 100. He whined and cried so much. I thought that he was a teenage girl who just broke up with her first boyfriend.
See, now that's why I say it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah, I have eyes and I can see. That's the perspective. So when I saw that,
I did like his fits that he threw, though. I did like those.
Yeah. So when I saw that as a man, I recognized that that's not a man. He's dressed up as a man, and I'm not saying this talking about a community. I'm not doing that. I'm talking about this character, Kylo Ren. He's dressed up like a man, but something's not quite right because he's acting like a prepubescent, and a prepubescent is not a man. He's as strong as a prepubescent, clearly, because he lost that strength fight with Rey. But then again, let's get to Rey. Rey is Dr. Manhattan. Have you ever seen Watchmen? Dr. Manhattan can do anything. He can turn bullets into water, right? Here's some of the things that Dr. Manhattan, they call her Rey in this movie. Here's what she can do. She can speak multiple languages, even though she's an abandoned orphan on a desert planet in the Outer Rim. She can use the Force skillfully without any training. She can beat up anyone, even the bad guy. Trained by the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy, Kylo Ren was trained by Luke Skywalker, and he gets beat up by an untrained Rey. She's a better pilot than Poe Dameron. Now you're wondering, well, why is that wrong? As I said, she's an orphan who I would question can even read on an outer rim planet. Who's Poe Dameron? Oh, Poe Dameron is the fake Han Solo, except he's a better fighter pilot than Han Solo. Why? Because he never misses. You remember when Vic said punchy, punchy, run, run? They have their whole plot of this movie, and this may sound familiar or deja vu. I promise you, you're not in the Matrix. But they said they're going to go to the super Death Star, and they're going to fly inside of it. You remember that part, right? And then they're going to cause a chain reaction of explosions and then fly out. And it's very dangerous. So only the person that we've seen nail every shot he ever took in this movie can do it. So as an audience member and as a non-writer, when I'm watching that, there is no climax because he's never missed a shot. He's the greatest fighter pilot. So there's no risk. So it's anticlimactic in the climax of the movie. If I were a writer, I might say that's writing 101. Captain Phasma, you know what I call her? I've heard a lot of curse words on it, so I can say this without fear. She's the feeling you have after a post-ejaculation. Why am I here? What am I doing? That's Captain Phasma. That's the shiny one who did absolutely nothing. Vic is laughing and Chris is shaking his head. And the guys out there, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Females, you know, when you roll over it. Anyway, let me go on to some honorable mentions, okay? Here's some special mentions that we have in this movie. There's a character in this movie called there's a character in this movie called Thamison. Now you're wondering, just like me, who the hell is that? Say it with me. It doesn't matter. There's General Hux. Who is that? A female. Then there's a character called Lor San Tekka. Who is that? That's the old man in the beginning of the movie who was killed within 3 seconds. He's the only one who had a backstory that you seemed like you wanted to know. Who's he portrayed by? Max von Sydow, a man who has been nominated countless times. They killed that man and formed the entirety of a movie around what I presume would be an orphan child who can do no wrong, Dr. Manhattan. Finn, oh, I didn't mention him. He's the other honorable mention. I call him Token in this movie. This is not against John Boyega, but even John Boyega agrees with me. Look up the tweets. Because somebody writing this movie, again, I wouldn't know. Somebody writing this movie says, hey, we've never seen a black stormtrooper. Kathleen Kennedy said, hey, all the times I was side by side with George, I never saw that either. You should put one in there because people want to see that. And they're not part of my generation. They're part of the one that comes after the millennials. They're probably Z. I'm calling them out. And they said, yeah, we just want somebody who looks like us, even though they don't have a reason to be there. And Finn was in this as a black stormtrooper. And as he says, I worked sanitation. Is that a stereotype? No, it can't be, because he's a star of the movie. Star of the movie. Why is he a star of the movie? Because he's black. It's not because he did anything. He, as he says, is a sanitation worker. So he doesn't know how everything operates. He could barely fire out of the TIE fighter. You remember that when they escaped? And Poe Dameron could do no wrong, and he found out how to do that. You remember? Okay, so that's why when they go into the super Death Star, he didn't know what he was doing. He was lying the whole time. In the middle of the movie, he was the simp who was simping over this female because he never saw a woman fight before. Those are his words, not mine. Okay. Then he picks up a lightsaber and holds it correctly and doesn't just fight Kylo Ren, as Chris says, but he fights somebody who's trained to fight people with lightsabers.
Another one.
Even though he's a sanitation worker. That would be like you going into the Department of Defense and knowing how it runs because you clean the bathrooms at the Pentagon. That makes no sense. How is Kylo Ren not, as he does it finally, slicing his back open in the first instant? I understand why he lost the fight to Dr. Manhattan, because Dr. Manhattan is Dr. Manhattan. With that vagina, you can't lose. But why doesn't he kill Finn immediately? I don't know. I don't know. I have so many questions. Now, I didn't drink tonight, but rest assured, and I promise you, next Tuesday when we do The Last Jedi, and they completely bend me over the table, I'll have to take a drink. But those are my thoughts on this movie, which are really a poorly plagiarized 4, 5, and 6. Hence my name, RU 4, 5, 6.
That was an amazing play on words that I didn't even recognize at first. But James, you went kind of hard. Did this movie bring up some bad memories for you?
Yes, because I work hard for my money, and I bought the ticket thinking that it would be good. And then movie started out so well. They had Max von Sydow, as you said. He stopped the plasma bolt. It was still crackling. Poe Dameron was like, damn, he was looking like me. I've never seen anything like that. Then he releases it. Everything is going great. And then I said, well, damn it. I know what's going to happen, but I've never seen this movie. Is the Force strong with me? It was like Vic when he was in Disneyland, and he said, he looked at this guy. He said, I've never seen you before, and yet you remind me of like a dollar store rental of Darth Vader. Why are you dressed like that? Who are you? Are you somebody? And the guy looked at him. He says, dude, I'm just trying to make a living here. Why are you busting my balls? And Vic said, you're right. I'm drunk. It's the blue milk. But that's how I felt. I bought that expensive popcorn, and you got to get a medium spray.
Facts.
And Disney screwed me. They screwed me in the theater. Now Chris is making me watch these movies. I told him I didn't want to watch it.
It wasn't me. It was C.
Oh, and where's she at?
She's in the comments.
Where is the queen of recasted at when you need her? Huh? How come she is not suffering? She's going to be here next month when it's my birthday review, and she will watch that movie. Oh, I have a treat for you.
Speaking of which, I do need everybody's picks. Let's not forget that.
I'm going with The Witch, baby. I'm going with The Witch. Next month, June 24th, my birthday, The Witch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a small commercial break, find out what we're going to review in a couple minutes, actually. This is a double header tonight since we missed Tuesday, my fault. And then also find out what we're going to review on Tuesday, the next Star Wars trilogy. Stay with us. You're watching a popular review.
Are you baiting me, detective?
Attempting to be thorough so we can figure out the manner of death.
You mean if someone killed him? You think one of us, one of his family, killed him?
Mr. Blanc, I just buried my father who committed suicide. Why are you here?
I suspect foul play. I have eliminated no suspects.
To show me my place in all this.
Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next Tuesday is the next movie in this franchise, Star Wars The Last Jedi. And, of course, in a few minutes, we're going to be reviewing Knives Out, starring Daniel Craig and a plethora of actors and actresses in this one. But right now, we're reviewing Star Wars The Force Awakens. I am the executive consultant, Chris Harris. Up there is RU456, as well as Regrets. Please make sure you like, love, and share this everywhere. And make sure that you subscribe to us, especially on YouTube at UPRE. It's our very own YouTube channel, strictly for entertainment, UPRE. And let's get into some final thoughts. Regrets, we'll start off with you.
Well, like I said before, I did have regrets because I went to Disney World, I went to the Star Wars ride, and I did all of that. However, there's just information that I didn't know because when I did, that was February 2020, right before COVID. I didn't know anything. I really, really, really regret not knowing who Kylo Ren is because at this moment, oh man, I would have been talking all kinds of crap. I would have had so much fun with it because I had a ton of fun just talking crap with this Stormtrooper. Clearly they know they do it for the photos and things like that. But but when going back to this movie, the one thing that I see, you know, I feel the same way that I felt when I saw Mortal Kombat. This is a remix for the young people. This is not like, it's not a continuation of the story, even though like they trying to make it by adding Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and all of that. But them killing off Han Solo and then doing this whole thing with Kylo Ren. Now, the one question that I do have, and I think the question is already answered, and that is if Kylo Ren is as over as Darth Vader. Clearly, in my opinion, that's a no. But then at the same time, like, it, like, the timing is totally different. Like, I think that they just put this together to kind of get a money grab after not having something for what, 15 years. Wait, no, like what, like maybe 10 years, because this movie came out what,
12 years.
12 years. And then the where Darth Vader gets his face burned. That movie came out when?
05.
All right, so like 10 years, and then they clearly there was a demand, and this is what they put together, and I think that it was somewhat successful. I'm not sure. I think we'll find out in a minute, because for them to do a ride and to do a whole thing, and mind you, when you go over there, like, it's a whole Star Wars world. Like, so that's another reason why I have regrets, because I think I would have enjoyed that better if I had known what the hell was going on, because I was just like open minded, like, all right, let's get whatever. But if I would have known, like, when I saw BB-8 running around, like, I would have marked out so hard, like, so for that reason, I do have regrets. Now, clearly, I mean, I have mixed reviews for this, because, like, number one, you can't see this standalone, even though I think you can. If I was like 10, I'd probably give this a thumbs up, but because I'm 38, I'm going to give it a thumbs down. I'm just leaving it at that.
I know what I want to say, but I know I'm not allowed to say it. Because of what's going on now in that region of the world and how a country is being treated, it would be in poor taste for me to say the reference that I want to reference. But when you follow a property, when you enjoy a property, and then someone comes along with no love of said culture, said history, said lore, and they just do it purely as a money grab, you don't hate them, but you hate what they do to something that you care about or that you like. I don't think that's fanaticism. I think that's just appreciation of the hard work that went into making that craft, right? And I dislike these three movies, spoiler alert, because they show no respect and understanding of what came before. Okay? There's a reason why we honor elders, at least in my culture, right? Whether you agree with them or not, whether they say, hey, and try and have overwhelming influence on what you do in your time, as you might say, whatever like that. They've been here before. They've seen some things. And perhaps there's a reason why they say, hey, this is doing too much. This is okay. Sometimes doing everything simply because you can do everything is not the right thing. I don't believe in putting people who look like me in movies or putting women in movies simply because they are those things without having a reason to have them in there serves the movie good. I think it's lazy, and I think it's insulting, quite frankly. This movie is insulting for many different reasons. I went in some for the characterizations. I went in some just now for the tokenism. And two, for just the blatant plagiarism that we see that J.J. Abrams and some of his writing partners have. And I forget the writer of this movie. And there's nobody, whether you like this movie or not, or the subsequent films that we're going to review the weeks after, that can tell me that it's not poorly made and not purely a money grab, which is what Vic is referring to when he talks about Galaxy's Edge. Because if you go to Galaxy's Edge, you won't see the originals aside from Chewbacca, because every time they have the originals, they have to pay George Lucas a royalty. So you'll see a lot of the new characters, but you won't see the original. Even the stormtroopers are first order. Money grab. I said the same thing as Marvel kept making more and more money. There are only certain Marvel movies that I like because they just pushing these out without a good story. Money grab. This movie is a thumbs down.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But I was gonna ask you what about that, because I thought that was the Millennium Falcon, but it's good that you did say
No,
that.
that's not the Millennium Falcon is the one that Rey knew how to fly all of a sudden in the desert.
Yeah, no, because it's there.
Yeah, they have that, but that's not the Millennium Falcon.
That's not it, but it's there.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking. But it was in the movie, so I guess that's why. Yeah,
and the design of it is different. If you look at the original trilogy, the Millennium Falcon is not the same. It's redesigned.
That makes sense.
Hence why it's in Galaxy's Edge.
Okay.
All right, so let's go with some facts on here. IMDb, whatever. 7.9 out of 10. This movie cost $245 million to make. It made, listen to this, worldwide $2,070,828,263. United States, it made $936,662,225. A lot of money. So when you say money grab,
wait, how many refunds?
When you say money grab, this is why you call it money grab. Say what you want. It accomplished exactly what it wanted to do. And I remember these movies came out, especially these last three, came out during the Christmas holidays. A lot of big movies come out during the Christmas holidays, the second biggest movie season of the year. Summer, of course, being the first. But a lot of times what people don't understand is, even though it is the second biggest one, the reason it's the second biggest one, because they usually get lucky with one big blockbuster. Whether it be Harry Potter, whether it be Lord of the Rings, whether it be The Hunger Games, all of these comes out in late fall. I know, I'm just saying this is money. This is money. Oh, the question? Read. I didn't see it. Can you put it back up?
They said, how come you give this movie a thumbs down when you saw The Notebook, that whack movie, a thumbs up? I never gave The Notebook a thumbs up. I think
I gave it a thumbs up, but Vic might have did that. Yeah. I mean, this movie really pissed me off. However,
let's put the question back up.
However,
yeah,
I said over and over and over again, when I go into a movie, it always depends on expectations. I was one of the people who saw Space Journey, aka Star Trek 2009, and I knew it was just a resume reel for J.J. Abrams in the movie he really wanted to make, which was Star Wars. So when I saw it, I knew not to expect much from it. You knew that Disney was putting it out for that moolah. There were a lot about this movie I did enjoy. There's a lot about this movie I cannot stand. But one reason how come this is going to get the edge is because for one of my Halloween costumes, I wanted to be Kylo Ren, and I still kind of want to be Kylo Ren. Not because I respect the character that's later developed, but because his entrance was still badass to me, and the way he was interrogating people was still badass to me, and I like to remember him before he took off the mask and died. So because of all of that, I'm going to give this movie a thumbs up. There we go. Take us home, Vic.
Now, Charmaine, remember, I saw the Superbad. Now, you have in there the last time the Warriors, this time Superbad. But please, anybody, if you want to suggest a movie for June, and this is the viewer's pick, go to our YouTube, UPRE. If you're having trouble finding it, UPRE reviews, right? And go into whichever show and just write whatever movie.
Well, UPRE, not UPRE reviews. UPRE.
No, I'm saying if you have trouble finding it, do UPRE reviews.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But go in there and write down your suggestions so that we can remember it all. You know what I mean? But so far, Charmaine is the only one who has it. Now, don't you all start writing in there now, because I just told you what you had to do. Go to YouTube and write in the comments which movie you would like us to do. But Charmaine
and
Warrior,
don't
Superbad.
let it be Superbad. I really do not want to see that movie. Like, don't do that to me, Charmaine. It's
Still
still my
a good movie. What are you talking about?
Yeah, okay. It's still my birthday month. Let's not do that to me. I don't want to watch Superbad. I really don't. Take us home. We still have, hey, ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We still got Knives Out to do. I did. Oh, shit. Fine. All right. God, why did she put that in a public thing? Why couldn't she put that in the room? All right, so stay tuned. In a couple minutes, we're actually going to review and Knives Out is Thursday. It is host pick. It is my pick. Knives Out ensemble cast. All right, Regrets, go ahead and take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for what? Thank you for joining us on another edition of Unpopular Reviews. This was a bad Star Wars. But I did like BB-8, so that was cool. But anyway, join us for the next movie, Knives Out. It's going to be great. Thank you. Have a great day.
Oh.